Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more buckshot testing. And we've got a combination out here today that I am absolutely curious to see how well it does, because it could be pretty decent or it could be absolutely terrible. I don't know that there's going to be much in between with this setup today, but we don't know until we try it anyway. So for the shell I've got out here today, I brought out some more of these, the Federal Premium Flight Control buckshot loads. These are a 12 gauge, 2 3/4 inch, 9 pellet double aught buck shell, moving about 1325 feet per second. And these have definitely been some of the best buckshot loads we've tested. There's no question about that. So I'm absolutely curious to see how they perform through today's kind of a little bit different type of setup anyway. So for the setup I've got out here today, I brought out this old Mossberg 500 here, but it has the adjustable select choke on it. Technically, this is not a poly choke, but it functions the same way. It's got this collar that you can loosen or tighten, which squeezes the fins on the inside of the barrel, giving you more or less constriction here. So I'm absolutely curious to see how well this old select choke, adjustable choke, actually works with these more modern flight control buckshot shells. It might do pretty good. It might do absolutely terribly. I don't know. Now, as for how we're going to have this choke set today, I have it screwed to the full choke setting, which if you have not seen it, we have tested these flight control buckshot shells through the full range of chokes, everything from a cylinder bore all the way up through turkey chokes even, and they seem to do really well through a full choke. So that's where we're going to have this set to today, is right at that full choke constriction. So as for our test, everything is going to be the same as usual. I have the big sheet of paper set up at 40 yards. I have the chronograph, so we'll be able to see our speed and how close it is to the box claim. And I have a few templates out here as well that after we take our shot and look at our results, we can lay them up over there and get a better reference point as to how they actually performed. So let's get you guys set up with a view of the target and take our shot and just see how well these Federal Flight Control double aught buck shells can do through an old Mossberg adjustable select choke. They might do pretty good. They might do absolutely terrible. I don't know. But let's go over here and see what happens. Okay, so that shell gave us 1279 through our chronograph. The box claims 1325, and we didn't quite see that, but high 1200s is still plenty good enough, and it's within the realm of reason anyway for these shells. So I wouldn't say there's anything too out of the ordinary up here, but how well did they actually pattern through that old select choke down at 40 yards? Let's go take a look and see. All right, so now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. Now, for a reference, the white dot was my point of aim. The paper is 36 inches wide there, and very clearly, we have a heck of a pattern right there. All 9 of our pellets are right around our point of aim there, and I did measure it, and that is a 9.5 inch spread at 40 yards there. And it would have been a little bit better than that too, but that one top left pellet was almost a little bit of a flyer. And saying that we had a flyer in a pattern like that is almost unrealistic to even say, but I mean, just look at how good that pattern performed at 40 yards. For buckshot. I don't know that it gets a whole lot better than that, as for performance anyway. That's probably about as good as you can get out of a flight control buckshot shell. And that is really surprising. I expected to see some decent results just based on the shell alone, but man, that is the best buckshot pattern we've gotten on the channel. And I don't know that we can get a whole lot better than that. But after seeing this, let's throw a couple of our templates up here and see how it looks if you would have used it out in the field. We'll start with our 10-inch circle, even though everything's going to be inside of that. We'll throw it up here and just see what it looks like real quick. Okay, here's our 10-inch circle, and as you can see, we have 8 pellets within there. However, the 9th is just barely under the top corner there, but I lined the template up with our actual dot there. So if we were to scoot it just a ½ inch to the left, all 9 pellets would be within that 10-inch circle, obviously, because we had a 9.5 inch spread. So seeing 8 pellets in your point of aim 10-inch circle vital area there, I don't know that it gets a whole lot better than that for a loaded double aught buck. But let's throw the deer template up and just see what kind of devastation it would have given us if we would have taken that shot while we were in a hunting scenario. Alright, so here's our deer template, and for a reference, we have a front leg down there at the bottom, and his neck just starts off to the right side. And if we line it up with our point of aim there, obviously we had all 9 pellets on our target here, and everything looks just about as perfect as you could ever ask for there. I mean, every one of those pellets hit lungs and heart area. There's no question about it. That would be just absolutely devastating on any deer. out to 40 yards, no question about it. And you could probably push that to 50, maybe even 60 before you would run out of enough energy to penetrate reliably anyway. So that is nothing short of devastation there. That is pretty much the perfect buckshot pattern, I'd say. But just for the sake of doing it, I'll also throw the hog template up here so we can look at that real quick for you hog hunters down there in the south and the west. I think it's going to be pretty much the same story, but let's at least take a quick look at it just to see what it looks like here. Okay, so here's our hog template, and yeah, it's the same story really. All 9 pellets within that vital zone, there's no question about it. Absolutely a dead hog, all day, every day. So again, that's about as good as you could ever ask for a buckshot pattern right there. It doesn't get a whole lot better than that, I'd say. Which is definitely pretty impressive for an old school select choke like that. I absolutely have zero complaints about that pattern or performance right there whatsoever. Okay, and here's the wad out of that shell, and as you can see, typical flight control wad, that's for sure. But it looks essentially just absolutely perfectly. I mean, it's pretty much picture perfect there. All 3 of these little petals are pretty much identical as far as how far they poke out. There's no kind of rips, tears, anything. The tail fins are all perfectly symmetrical. This looks about as perfect as you could really ever want out of a wad like this. There's not even any kind of bumps here in the middle where the wad would have hit the choke constriction and kind of squished itself together. Everything looks pretty much absolutely perfect here. So definitely a pretty good performing combo, I'd say. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that performance right there? That is nothing short of just beautiful. It's about as perfect as you could ever ask for. No complaints whatsoever from me. Had good velocity, good pattern. It hit right where I wanted it to as far as aim point goes. So really, it did about as good as you could ever want out of a buckshot shell. And that was pretty surprising. I expected to see some decent results simply because the flight control loads are a good shell, but I really didn't know how they were going to play with that old select choke like that. They could have done very well. They could have done absolutely terribly. I really didn't know coming into it, but clearly this combo works pretty well, I'd say. But as always, leave your thoughts about it in the comments. Is that about what you expected to see? Or were you a little bit surprised to see that kind of result? And if you've tried one of these old poly chokes or select chokes with buckshot or even with the flight control buckshot, how have they done for you and what has been your favorite combo out of them? Let me know all that down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got some more filming to do for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send things if you'd like. All that information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to it. So I'll see y'all in the next one.